"No one loves a fat girl, sir, but I can cook," she whispered, believing the world had already judged her worth. The rancher turned, looked her in the eyes, and said, "Ma'am, love ain't measured on a scale, and neither is dignity." The belief that self-worth is tied to appearance is one of the most persistent and damaging ideas society has ever created. From childhood, many people are taught, directly or indirectly, that their value depends on how closely they match certain physical standards. These standards shift with time and culture, yet they always leave someone feeling inadequate. In the story, when the settler woman says, "No one loves a fat girl, sir," she is not simply describing how she sees herself, she is echoing judgments she has heard or felt throughout her life. Her words reveal the painful internalization of a world that so often prioritizes beauty over humanity. Her comment about being able to cook reflects an attempt to compensate for what she believes she lacks. Instead of recognizing her abilities as strengths, she uses them as currency, offering them as proof of her worth. This mindset is far more common than we admit. Many people believe they must overperform, overgive, or overprove themselves just to be accepted. They reduce their identity to a single trait, often one they feel insecure about, and ignore the richness and depth of everything else they are. But appearance is only a surface-level detail. It cannot reveal a person's values, compassion, intelligence, or inner strength. It does not reflect a lifetime of experiences, struggles, and victories. When a society focuses solely on looks, it overlooks the qualities that make someone truly valuable: empathy, courage, creativity, loyalty, resilience, and kindness. When we recognize that our worth is not dependent on physical appearance, we begin to dismantle the harmful narratives that limit us. We can start valuing ourselves and others for who they are, not how they look. Societal labels, those quick judgments and careless categorizations, have a powerful way of shaping how people see themselves. These labels can come in many forms: comments from relatives, teasing from peers, comparisons on social media, or even the silent expectations projected by culture. Over time, they accumulate and solidify into beliefs that feel unshakably true. When the settler woman speaks the words, "No one loves a fat girl," it becomes clear she is not expressing her own natural opinion. She is repeating a message the world has handed to her. She has absorbed these external judgments so deeply that they have become part of her identity. This is the danger of labels. They infiltrate the mind quietly. A person might hear a remark once, but think about it 100 times. Labels replay internally until self-doubt grows stronger than self-acceptance. And the most damaging part is that people begin to shape their behavior around these labels. They shrink themselves in conversations, avoid opportunities, or overcompensate to make up for what they believe are shortcomings. Emotional confidence becomes fragile, easily shattered by even a small negative comment. Society's labels often ignore the complexity of a person. They reduce someone to a physical characteristic, a mistake, a trait, or a stereotype. These simplistic assessments fail to acknowledge the entirety of a human being, their dreams, talents, personality, and potential. Over time, internalizing such labels can lead to anxiety, low self-esteem, and a fear of being seen or judged. The settler woman's acceptance of society's label illustrates how powerful external opinions can be. They can dictate how a person values themselves, how they navigate relationships, and how they interpret their place in the world. When someone starts believing these labels, their mental and emotional confidence becomes fragile. The rancher's response serves as a powerful contrast to the woman's defeated words. His reply, simple yet deeply meaningful, challenges the idea that a person's worth can be calculated based on outward appearance or societal acceptance. When he tells her that love is not measured in pounds, he is not merely offering comfort. He is introducing a completely different way of understanding human value. Instead of viewing her through the narrow lens she has internalized, he sees her as a full and complete human being with dignity that cannot be diminished by judgment or stereotype. His perspective highlights an important truth. Dignity is not something earned through beauty, skill, or service. It is inherent. It belongs to every person simply because they exist. Yet, many people forget this due to the pressure to fit into certain physical or social expectations. The rancher's words cut through these expectations, reminding her, and anyone who hears the message that worth is not conditional. What makes his reply especially powerful is its quiet sincerity. He does not praise her cooking as compensation, nor does he dismiss her feelings. Instead, he reframes the entire conversation. He recognizes her insecurity, but refuses to validate the belief that she is unlovable. In doing so, he embodies respect without pity and understanding without judgment. The rancher becomes a symbol of the kind of voice people desperately need to hear, one that sees beyond appearances, beyond flaws, beyond assumptions. His response demonstrates how a single moment of kindness and clarity can challenge years of internalized doubt. It reminds us that the way we speak to others can either reinforce their insecurities or gently dismantle them. Through his simple but profound reply, he acknowledges her humanity and affirms her right to be valued, seen, and respected. Even though the story of the settler woman takes place in a historical setting, the struggles she expresses are strikingly relevant today. Modern society, with all its technological advancements and global communication, still wrestles with rigid and unrealistic beauty standards. In fact, with the rise of social media, these expectations have only intensified. Filters, photo editing apps, and carefully curated online personas create an illusion of perfection that few can achieve and none can maintain. As people scroll through endless images of idealized bodies and flawless faces, it becomes easy to feel inadequate or unattractive by comparison. These standards are often narrow and exclusionary, favoring specific body types, facial features, or lifestyles. They change rapidly, making it impossible for any single person to keep up. One moment, a certain look is celebrated, the next, it is criticized or replaced. This constant shifting creates anxiety and confusion, especially for young people still forming their identity and self-image. Instead of appreciating their individuality, many individuals feel pressured to fit into a mold that does not represent who they truly are. The emotional toll of these pressures is significant. People begin to tie their self-worth to likes, comments, and online validation. They may feel as though they must alter their appearance through dieting, excessive exercise, or even cosmetic procedures just to be accepted. The fear of judgment becomes so strong that some avoid social situations or hide behind digital versions of themselves. The settler woman's belief that she is unlovable because of her weight echoes the modern struggle where countless individuals believe their bodies are barriers to acceptance. Society's obsession with physical perfection often overshadows the qualities that truly define a person: kindness, intelligence, humor, creativity, and emotional depth. Harmful narratives about appearance, worth, and desirability often go unquestioned because they are so deeply woven into cultural norms. They appear in casual jokes, in family comments, in advertisements, in movies, and even in everyday conversations. Over time, these narratives become accepted as truth, even when they are damaging or completely false. The settler woman's belief that she is unlovable because of her weight is the result of such narratives, messages that tell people they must conform to a certain look or shape to earn love, respect, or belonging. Challenging these harmful beliefs requires awareness, courage, and compassion. It begins with recognizing how often we internalize or repeat ideas that reduce a person to their appearance. Phrases like "you'd be prettier if you lost weight," or "real beauty looks like this," reinforce the notion that a person must meet external conditions to be valued. These messages limit self-expression and can lead individuals to silence themselves, hide parts of who they are, or constantly seek approval from others. We must learn to identify these narratives and confront them directly. This means speaking up when someone is being judged unfairly, questioning stereotypes that have been normalized, and reframing conversations that center on appearance rather than character. It also requires compassion toward ourselves. Many people are harsher critics of their own bodies than anyone else could ever be. Challenging these internal narratives is just as important as challenging the external ones. Education and representation play a major role as well. When people see diverse bodies, identities, and experiences portrayed with dignity and positivity, it expands the understanding of what is normal and acceptable. It shows that value does not come from fitting into a narrow definition, but from embracing individuality. By pushing back against harmful messages, we create space for healthier, more inclusive perspectives to grow. At the heart of the story lies a universal truth. Every human being, regardless of their appearance, abilities, or background, deserves love, respect, and acceptance. These are not privileges to be earned. They are fundamental needs that all people share. Yet, many grow up believing they must qualify for them, through beauty, talent, success, or perfection. The settler woman's whispered confession reflects this heartbreaking belief. She has convinced herself that her body makes her unworthy of love, and that she must compensate by offering something practical, like her cooking skills. This mindset reveals how deeply people can internalize the idea that love must be bargained for. True acceptance does not work that way. Real love, whether romantic, familial, or social, is not conditional on meeting a specific standard. It is not withdrawn when someone gains weight, ages, or changes. Respect should not be given only to those who look a certain way. Acceptance should not be limited to those who fit society's narrow definition of beauty. Every person carries a unique story, a mix of strengths, struggles, dreams, and vulnerabilities that cannot be seen from the outside. When people feel accepted for who they are, they develop confidence and emotional safety. They become more authentic, more open, and more willing to show their true selves. Conversely, when acceptance is withheld or used as a reward for meeting certain expectations, individuals begin to doubt their worth. They may hide their personality, silence their opinions, or change their behavior to avoid rejection. The rancher's reply becomes meaningful because it disrupts this conditional view of worth. His words suggest that love and dignity are not dependent on a person's size or appearance. Instead, they are rooted in the inherent value of being human. So when we look at the settler woman standing there, whispering her fears into the dusty wind, she becomes more than a character in a story. She becomes a mirror reflecting the parts of ourselves that have felt unworthy, unseen, or unloved. And the rancher, with his simple but powerful reply, becomes the voice we all need to hear. The voice that tells us our worth is not negotiable, our humanity is not conditional, and our value does not depend on the scale, the mirror, or anyone else's approval. If we carry anything from their exchange, let it be this: that we have the power to challenge harmful standards, to rewrite the stories we tell about ourselves, and to look at others with compassion instead of judgment. Let us be the ones who speak dignity into the hearts of those who doubt themselves. Let us be the voices that heal, not the whispers that wound. And above all, let us remember that every person, every shape, every size, every scar, every story, deserves love, respect, and acceptance. Not because of what they can offer, but because of who they are. That is the truth worth holding on to.